Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here for this one. Today I'm going to share a subject that's not really of the nutrition, science, nerdy variety. It's actually of the spiritual variety, and it is one that is near and dear to my heart. For some of you listening, when you finally embrace this concept, your life will change. And you'll look back realizing that that was the moment where things finally started to change for you. It's definitely a floodgate opening, light bulb moment for a lot of people. And so I'm particularly excited to hear what you think about it, and even more excited to see how things shift for you once you open up to this stuff. So the subject for today is taking responsibility for your health and well-being. Actually, what I should say is taking 100% blind responsibility for everything from here on out. I'm not talking about an eeny, meeny, miny, mo type of responsibility, not a today I'm feeling secure enough in my self-worth kind of responsibility, but a full-on surrender, accept it all, give in type of responsibility. I'm responsible for everything about myself and my life. I'm sovereign. Now, let me just say, I know there are some of us who have faced injustices and traumas that are beyond our power. And I feel you on that one because I feel like my childhood was pretty dang rocky too. And that is never going to be something that I take personal responsibility for the environment that I grew up in, unless you want to get super spiritual, but we're not going to do that today. But there is a key difference between taking responsibility for a one-off, really sad, unfortunate, and tragic situation and taking responsibility for your life. And I know you know the difference. I know you know what I mean. But these days you have to be really clear, because no matter how shitty it gets, you always have control over one thing. And can you guess what that one thing is? I'll give you a second. Yes, your response. Always, always, always you have control over your response. I mean, somebody just take a second to please Google people that have lost limbs, lost homes, lost loved ones, and they keep fighting. And many of them rise to heights that they never would have thought possible because of what they've been through. But don't worry, I mean, this is not meant to be preachy, although it probably will come off a little bit that way. It's meant to be honest and frankly pretty direct, because the way that I look at this concept is as if it's a prerequisite to getting through anxiety, or really to getting through anything, but we're talking about health and anxiety today. Because if you have no responsibility for your well-being, you also don't have any power to change anything about your life or your circumstances. So, what can I say? Good luck with that. There's nothing to do if you have no power. Only you can do it. So if you're still in a place where you're picking and choosing what you want to take responsibility for, i.e., I want to take responsibility for my six-pack abs, not mine, I don't have them, and my incredible metabolism, but not my bad temper, then this is for you. And even if you're hating me right now, please keep listening. Here's the main little nugget that I want you to take away today. When you give up responsibility, you also give up all power to change anything, to affect any change for yourself and for your life. So I'm going to just pause for effect, let that sink in. Let me know if I should repeat it. Of course, I'm going to repeat it. When you give up responsibility, you also give up all power. I mean, who wants to be powerless? Isn't that something that so many of us fight against with everything that we've got? Well, what would happen if we all realized we are inherently powerful over ourselves? And we started acting like it, and we stopped waiting for someone to move the obstacle for us. Instead, we started looking for a way around it. And whether or not you agree, you just can't have it both ways. So you get to be one of two people. You get to be someone who is a complete boob in their own life, floating around, bumping into things, wondering why no one has jumped in to save you from yourself, feeling sorry for yourself, feeling like a victim, totally free of judgment, which is the trade-off, right? Because of course it's the world's fault or your parents' fault or your genetics or whatever. But then you also put yourself in a place where there's little that you can do about it. Since it's not your fault, you have no control. And this applies to everything, but today we're talking about health, because that's what I know. So don't take this as a lack of sympathy for you and what you're going through, because I've been there. I'm doing what I do because I've had anxiety, and I know that it's hard. I've had migraines, every 12 days on the dot for 10 years. I've had crippling anxiety probably since childhood. I've had cystic acne all over my face, etc., etc. And I won't even get into the emotional hurdles because that's not important right now. But you, I hope, are the one that is deciding what crosses your lips and enters your mouth. You're still the one who has to lift your tired bod off the couch and brush your teeth so you can get into bed at a reasonable time. You open your own eyes in the morning. You put your feet on the floor. You can tie your tennis shoes and go for a walk outside. And you can say no to Taco Bell, although I would have empathy for you if you couldn't, because that one is particularly hard. But you know what a vegetable is, and you know how to eat one. You, I hope, have access to clean water, and if you're eating at Taco Bell, at the very least, you can order a water instead of a soda. Now, you may need to learn plenty of new habits, and you may need help. But the basics cost you no more money. They just cost you admitting that you're powerful, admitting that there are areas that you can improve yourself. So this is what's called tough love. And while it's fucking uncomfortable, not for me, I'm actually having a really good time, I think it's 100% more useful than agreeing with you that yes, you have no power and you're unlucky. Moving on. I'm gonna have a sip of water. So you get to be the boob, or you get to be someone who shows up even though they got dealt a shitty hand and they have anxiety. Someone who, regardless of what hardship they've faced, isn't whining but is working, who has chosen that more stuff than they originally thought actually is within their power, and so they're gonna work with what they've got. Wow, superhero status. Now that sounds like a movie trailer in the making, the movie of your life. This you doesn't waste energy over fighting over why it's not fair or whose fault it is. They don't have time to be miserable. They only have time to grow, to improve, to mend, to overcome, and to be happy anyways. And you, my friend, are the one with the power to decide to be happy anyways. You fully can change the way that you eat and create better habits and do shit that scares you and make time to care for yourself and cut out toxic friendships. Work a little bit harder. See more wonder in your everyday, and you can choose to be happy everywhere. But of course I know that that's the hardest part, but it doesn't mean it doesn't need to be said, because I know that there's no shortage of information out there about what you could do, and I'm guessing you're not short on awareness about what you should do yourself, hence listening to this podcast with, I think, 0 followers. But the difficult part is breaking out of the comfortable, out of the safe. And I know this part sucks, the big one. It's actually why I teach about behavioral change before anything else in my programs, but that's not important right now. But what is important is that you are in control of way more than you want to admit, especially when it comes to your mood. I'm not saying it's easy, but you can make changes. This show is about trying to get you in maybe the tiniest corner of your mind that you'll never acknowledge out loud or admit that there might possibly, potentially, like 0.00001% chance be more you have control over when it comes to your health than you've ever given oxygen to before. So, and the last thing that I'll say is this. Everything big in life starts with you. And I found that when I raise the bar in the little closed loop cycle that is me, feeding and treating me, those changes reflected and reverberated everywhere in my life. So I feel like the way we treat ourselves is the microcosm that gets expanded into the rest of the world and the rest of our life. So no, this is not just about your waistline, although that will improve if you wanted to. It's about long-term health, but also about happiness and a kind of satisfaction that only comes when you know you're not lying to yourself anymore. You actually did do your best. So at risk of sounding like a motivational poster, let me leave you with this. You're incredible. You can do anything at all in the whole wide world that you want. You just have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You probably need help, and we all do, and you'll probably mess up more than you'll get it right. But the one thing I know for sure is that step 1 is being willing to own everything, the good and the bad. Thank you so much for listening today. And if you have any questions or you want to chat more, please reach out. I truly am here to serve. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.